Prevention really isn't very sexy. To prevent your loved one from falling in the home environment can go a long way to promoting their dignity and quality of life. So what does depression actually look like? It doesn't necessarily look like a loved one crying the whole day. Social isolation is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So build relationships and maintain relationships before you need them. Welcome to Fill in the Blanks podcast. I'm Ilanie, your social worker and your host, where we have the conversations that assist family members to be empowered after a medical setback of a loved one. So today, we are still talking about whole person wellness, and I want to focus on aspects that you can put in place at home to prevent things from going wrong. So we're going to have a look at physical habits, emotional habits, social habits that you can implement with your loved one to promote their dignity and quality of life, and then to prevent things from going wrong in the home environment. So if we think about prevention really isn't very sexy. You don't want to take precaution when things are still going right. You don't want to eat healthy when you are healthy. You don't want to have a look at managing your chronic conditions if you're feeling better. Our medical field actually only wants us to act when crisis hits. But if we act preventatively, that can save patients and families a lot of time, a lot of money, and it can actually put them in a better state than they would have been if they waited until crisis hit before they did something. So let's think about loved ones in the home environment. Let's say you've got your mom, John and Jill. They are in their 80s, still living in their own home environment, and they are still quite relatively independent with some chronic conditions like high blood pressure and cholesterol. They are semi-integrated still in the community environment, and you chat to them a couple of times a week. What would preventative care look like from this perspective? So let's think from a physical perspective. So things like patients falling in the home environment is a real big thing that can create a medical crisis in the home environment. So it would be wise, especially if you have got elderly parents, to have a look at fall risks in the home environment. We work with occupational therapists that can come and do a home safety assessment and give recommendations on how you can make the bathroom as safe as possible, move furniture, remove rugs, to prevent your loved one from having a fall. Actually, the fall risk for loved ones when the elderly increases quite significantly. The implication of your loved one falling is that they can break a hip or sustain a severe fracture that can leave them bedridden or wheelchair dependent. So actually just putting things in place to prevent your loved one from falling in the home environment can go a long way to promoting their dignity and quality of life. If we think about emotional well-being and prevention, we want to think about elderly loved ones often experience depression, anxiety, and then social isolation in the home environment. So what does depression actually look like? It doesn't necessarily look like a loved one crying the whole day. It can look like a loved one becoming more disinterested in activities that they enjoyed previously. It can look like someone no longer wanting to engage with loved ones. It can look like eating and sleeping patterns that are changing. So depression can oftentimes show up in different forms, and how we can prevent that is either from a family's perspective or then including a care partner in the care plan, is someone to go and engage your loved one for companionship, to ensure that they are actually participating in activities of daily living in their own home environment, for them to stay as active as possible, as engaged as possible. That can increasingly ensure that your loved one doesn't fall into depression. On that note, from a social perspective, they always say build relationships and maintain relationships before you need them. Like I've said in a previous episode, social isolation is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So we need to ensure that our loved ones remain integrated in their community environment to prevent them actually from becoming socially isolated. So what does this mean for you as a family member? If you think about your elderly loved ones, you have an active role to play in actually preventing your loved one from declining physically, emotionally, and socially. There are a variety of services available to promote their dignity and their quality of life, and Kriel Care is a great way to start. We often provide care plan management services to family members, whether those family members live abroad, they live close by, they are busy with work, they've got their own lives, whether they are close or far. We can assist with coming in, evaluating your loved one's functioning, and then putting a care plan in place. So that is one route that you can take. Another route is really to have a look at an occupational therapist to come and do the home safety assessment, and that is something that I would highly recommend just to promote safety in the home environment. Another thing that you can have a look at, there are facilities that cater to daycare for elderly in your community. Have a look at the resources available in your community where you can ensure that your loved one is still engaging with people of their own age, of their own functioning, that they can feel like they have a sense of belonging. So just putting these things in place from a preventative perspective can really go a long way in promoting your loved one's whole person well-being. So these were practical tips for family members that have elderly loved ones. This is where we have the conversations to empower family members. Tune in, same time, same place next week. This is Fill in the Blanks, and I'm Ilanie Kriel.